Hey,
Yo,
what's up?
how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Are you
You know,
back in Idaho right now?
yeah, I'm impressed that you know that.
I mean, I see the photos from all the hikes and all. So
I
jealous.
know, I know. I literally I grew up here obviously, but when I was younger, I don't know, I feel like we didn't really go on that many hikes and like mountain bikes, like bike rides and stuff. And like I've been going lately, I'm like, dang, Idaho is cool. Like I
It's
didn't even know when I grew
uh,
up here.
underrated, but you should
So
know that if
good.
you're there. You got to sell it to
I
others.
I do. I put it all over my story and I'm just like I wonder if people just like click through this or if they actually look because like some of the views here are like crazy.
I think you got to put something like a big thing that's like, "This is Idaho" every time to really sell it.
I know, I know. Wait, where are you right now? You're abroad, right?
I'm in Finland right now, so
Wow, crazy.
had a nice 37-degree weather for training today. We had
Are
snow this
you,
week.
but you're like training on your own, right? Are
No,
you with,
we're back with our team now.
oh, really?
Yeah, so
Wow.
just last week they made us or they allowed us to start training, but we have to keep 2 meters of distance in everything we do.
And do you get tested and stuff?
Right now they're not doing any testing, so I don't know what the plan
To
is in
like
game
make sure if
start.
you're positive or no? Or not?
Yeah, so we're just,
Oh,
but luckily in our area we haven't had many cases. They only
yeah.
report it in the media if we have 5 cases in town, and we haven't
Oh,
even
wow.
had five yet. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're safe here.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I mean, you're lucky you get to play with like your team though. That's awesome.
Yeah, have they said when you guys are starting?
Yeah, well, we just got like a little bit of like an update yesterday. It's not 100%, but obviously, there's like a prediction that there's going to be another wave. So they're basically trying to get us squeezed in for like 2 months. You know what I mean? And we're going to do like a mini tournament and then the season's over.
Oh wow,
I
huh?
know. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. Obviously, like I want to play and stuff, but I'm also like, it's like, oh, the idea behind it. We have 9 teams, so you'll like randomly get paired with, it will be like 4 teams, random 4 teams play each other. Top 8 go to quarters, and then obviously semis and then finals.
Oh wow.
I know.
Yeah, ours is we're playing one round of the series, and then we're splitting top half and bottom half. Top half play each other one more time for promotion, and bottom half play each other one more time for relegation. So we'll
Crazy.
see. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Crazy. Wait, is there a way to put this on my live or no?
No,
Ugh, okay.
sorry,
No, I mean, whatever.
but I'll send you the link and everything when it's up edited. Don't
Okay.
worry. But I think your followers see maybe that you're live. So
No, I don't know. I like have been just really busy today, so I didn't put anything on my story, but I wish I would have.
it's all right. It's all right.
Should I do it really quick?
If you
Sorry, my bad.
All right, guys, welcome back to another Footy and Coffee Conversations. I see you drinking some coffee right now. What just straight black or what do you like in it?
Well, what if there's not coffee in
Oh my
there?
goodness.
It's too late for me. If I drink coffee right now, I'll be up all night. So there's some kombucha. Is that
All
okay?
right, that's fine.
I could have lied.
That's all right. I respect it. You know, you got to be bold with what you're doing. Just to get started, just introduce yourself. Say what club you're playing for right now, what position you are.
Okay, guys, so my name's Sofia Huerta. I play in the NWSL, and currently I just got traded actually to OL Reign, which is a team in Tacoma, formerly known as the Seattle Reign. Obviously, with what's going on, I'm not there right now, so I'm just in Idaho training and trying to stay fit. And I play forward, midfields. I have a little bit of a crazy journey. I've attempted to play outside back, but mainly attacker.
Yeah. Well, and I think, given your goal scoring ability, that's probably a good decision. Not
Are
that you
you
can't,
are you
not
referring to our indoor soccer days?
those days when blue team just stayed on all day.
Were we on the same team?
Yeah,
That's right.
sometimes.
Yeah, I know. If
Sometimes.
you were lucky.
If you're lucky, then otherwise, who knows? Now, But yeah, so obviously we were talking about that you grew up in Idaho. I know you're the first female soccer player from Idaho. So just kind of talk a little bit about your youth career, what that looked like, because obviously you had different aspirations or goals than anyone before achieved in your state as a female soccer player. So what was kind of that like?
Yeah, so Idaho is like not the most competitive, with sports, honestly. Like I grew up playing multiple sports, like ran track, played basketball, and I never really like focused only on soccer. But I did play club soccer, played up 2 years, and played high school. I know everyone doesn't play high school in every state, but I played high school, and I got really lucky because when I was growing up, ODP was a big thing. I don't know about you, like obviously it's changed now, and there's like ECNL and the DA and stuff, but I was ODP, so Idaho. So get this, Idaho is like, again, not super competitive, doesn't have like a huge sports community. Well, I mean, it's growing. But
Don't undersell Idaho.
I'm just saying, like, it is pretty crazy. But this is, so you know how you would go away to regional camp
Mhm.
and like every state would obviously have like their team. Well, Idaho like didn't have enough girls, so I had to go with like the United team. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I'd go with the United team, and then like thank gosh I'd get held over, and then obviously like that led to going to like national team camp, and then you know building my resume, and then when I'd go to big tournaments, being seen by like college coaches. So it was pretty exciting. Like I remember getting my first. I mean, maybe not now. This doesn't sound crazy, but back then I remember getting my first letter in 8th grade. Like it being sent to my middle school from UCLA, and I was like, oh my gosh, like okay, this is what I want to do. Like obviously I got momentum back then. But yeah, and then I committed to Santa Clara when I was a junior. But youth soccer here was interesting. Like I said, it wasn't super competitive. I kind of felt like I really depended on my athleticism and didn't focus a lot on like my technical side or even my tactical. And again, was focused on other sports. And it wasn't until college where I would like really put all my focus in soccer and was like, whoa, if I would have been doing this the last 10 years, where would I be? But
Yeah.
yeah, that's my youth.
Yeah. And I think, just overall, I think you kind of undersold yourself as an athlete. I believe if YMCA holding all the records in the breaststroke, is
Oh, how
that
do you know this?
so? Don't
I'm not gonna lie, like I was pretty good at swimming, but only the breaststroke. Like nothing else, just the breaststroke.
see record holder that. But no, in high school, obviously, you killed it. You had 126 goals in your career. What I found most interesting is you were, I mean, a star athlete in 3 sports in high school, not just that you played, but that you excelled at all 3. Basketball, I know you were like first team in all state, as well as track. I believe you were the record holder for 100 and 300-meter hurdles. So you were playing multiple sports, but with soccer, I assume soccer was always like that was the thing you were the most passionate about.
Yeah, I mean, like I actually hated track, so like that was not fun, but I really liked my coach and felt like I was growing as a person and as an athlete, so I just stuck with it, although it was terrible. Loved basketball, but just wasn't as good as I was at soccer. I also think soccer, like at that point in my life and just at the day and age or whatever, was just way more developed. Like I was getting traction with ODP and like getting noticed. Like I didn't have that opportunity with other sports, but obviously so thankful because I mean, I really enjoy playing soccer, obviously. But I got recruited to play like basketball in college and to run track, but I just felt like I couldn't do multiple sports in college. Like that would have been not, that would have been too much. And so, yeah, soccer was for sure always kind of like the path I was going to go down. I knew that quite early, maybe like middle school.
Maybe the secret to your track and being so fast was you hated it, and so you tried to finish it as quick as possible.
No, I
So,
wasn't that fast. That's why I had to do hurdles. I had to like add an obstacle in there because like I was not as that fast, I swear.
so that's the secret of being good at hurdles.
I mean, I had a really good coach, honestly. She was really, really good. So, But yeah, oh, it was the worst. I hated being like at the starting line. Like, runners take your marks. I was like, oh,
Oh,
this is
that sounds
terrible.
sounds horrible. But so you go to university, and you go to a place completely different than Idaho. What drew you to Santa Clara? What was the experience like? Because obviously growing up in Idaho is a little bit different environment than that.
Yeah, I mean, actually, they were quite similar in the sense that it was like a really small community. I mean, I don't know, a lot of people don't know actually Santa Clara is only like 4,500 students. Like,
Okay.
not, it's really, really small, no football team, like, so it was similar in some ways, but obviously California versus Idaho is definitely different. But I chose to go there just because of I guess the energy I felt when I was at the university. And it's funny because I wasn't even planning to go there because like when I was 16, I was like, I want a big football team, like I want a big university. And I actually was visiting Cal. And I had a really weird situation there where the coach like resigned when I was on my unofficial. And
Oh
then my
wow.
dad was with me and he was like, oh, well, let's just go to Santa Clara. Like, let's just go. And we went and I like loved it. Like loved the coach, loved the girls. And I just felt like they were really going to invest in me. I was choosing between Santa Clara and Stanford, and they're only like 25 minutes apart, but I just felt like there are so many good players going to Stanford, and same with Santa Clara, but I just felt like I was more wanted at Santa Clara, and I think that also played a part into why I went there because I just knew that my coach was going to put a lot of time and effort into me individually, and he did just that. And I felt like that's how I really grew as a player, just having someone really believing in me and helping me improve in like all of these aspects of my game.
Yeah, and you can see that you improved through your time there. I think freshman year you had 8 goals. By senior year, you had 17 goals in the season. So
Well, freshman year I played center back for half the season.
did you really?
Yeah, did you know that? I don't know if
I
you knew
didn't
that.
know that.
Yeah,
No.
I was recruited like as a center back. So like full on, like I know it's so crazy. I'm like, why? Like
Oh
being
my.
I playing multiple positions is great, but it's also like I just don't identify with like a position anymore. I'm like, what's my best position? I don't even know. But yeah, I was a center back and then went to Santa Clara, played half the season as a center back, and then we just had a really hard time scoring. And like I did play attacker like growing up. So then in trainings I would be scoring and they're like, okay, we just have to move you up. And then I have been playing forward pretty much ever since.
Oh wow. I
And
didn't
then
know.
I went through a sophomore slump. So don't mention my goals
I'm not. I didn't
from
bring up the
sophomore
sophomore.
year.
I didn't bring up the
Everyone
sophomore year.
everyone knows about the sophomore slump. It's a thing.
It's a real thing.
It's
But
definitely a thing.
you have a lot of success there. 47 goals in total, 19 assists, uh, multiple first team conference, All American, that type of thing. When in college did professional soccer change from being this is just a dream of mine to this is a reality that's happening?
Yeah, so I think when I was a freshman, there wasn't even like a league. Even like my freshman sophomore year, there wasn't really a league. I knew there were opportunities to play professional soccer abroad and stuff, but I wouldn't say until my junior year I knew like, okay, this is something that's a possibility because the NWSL did start, and then also that's kind of when I started scoring more goals and being recognized. So I would say my junior year, I started taking things more seriously, like full disclosure, stopped partying as much, and like was like, okay, I need to really focus, like put the right things in my body, get the right amount of sleep, manage my time, and see if this is really a career that I can move forward with. So junior year probably was when I was like, okay, I'm good enough to go pro now, like sacrifice and, you know, do what you got to do. And then, yeah, I had a good season my junior or my senior as well. And, yeah, then there was just the draft, and I did believe I was going to get drafted. I just didn't know when. And then I ended up getting drafted in the second round, and I went to Chicago.
Yeah, 11th
And
pick.
that's kind of how we met.
Yeah, 11th pick. You go to Chicago. You finally have to leave the nice weather and head
I
back to
know. I know.
what's what's it like? Because now you're in a big city. You're starting out your professional career. it's a different environment when you're playing professionally than university. What's that rookie
So
year like for
different.
you?
Yeah, I actually did a Zoom call with like the club team here, like all the little girls, and they were like, "What's harder, going from high school to college or college to pro?" And I'm like, "For sure, college to pro. It's just like a different level. I mean, really, you have all the best players from college teams and then, from years ago too. And they're all in the league, and it's just like a very advanced league, like very athletic, very technical. Everyone's just really good. So that was a big adjustment for me personally. I actually ended up starting a majority of my games my rookie season, but not at the beginning. I think I started my first game. The pressure got to me, didn't perform very well, and then was on the bench for like a few games. And then it was a World Cup year, so big time names like Kristen Press, Julie Johnson at the time, now Ertz, and like other people on the national team left. And then I had another opportunity, and I definitely like performed way better. And then kind of started for Chicago ever since. But it was an adjustment. Like, I mean, to be honest, I had never not started before. Like, and so I was like, oh, well, okay. Like, I obviously faced adversity and had to get over it. But it was an adjustment and just a completely different level for sure.
Yeah, and I think too, like if you're not starting, you're used to starting and playing all the time. That's an adjustment. It's also an adjustment if you come in as a substitute in a game. It's a different to get
Yeah.
your rhythm is different when the team's already been playing for 65 minutes and you jump in and try to get going. So it's a lot of
Mhm.
adjustments as well as just you're a rookie in a rookie contract, not wanting to get cut and be able to keep playing on the team.
Yeah, well, and it's kind of like it was for me personally, I had this like, I mean, I feel like as a player, you kind of always have self-doubt. I mean, that's inevitable, but like this is when I really was like, am I good enough to like ever make the national team? Because obviously that was like always my goal. And then I come in rookie season, I'm not starting on my club team, and I'm like, holy crap, like I don't know if I'm good enough. And so that definitely crept in a few times my rookie season. I think that also comes along with being like immature and not having like, you know, tactics to get your mental side under control. I feel like as I've gotten older, obviously I've really gone into like meditation and like like positive self-talk. So that's helped a lot. But yeah, during that time, it was just interesting to like really evaluate whether or not I was good enough, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think you ended up that year. Obviously, you're a finalist for Rookie of the Year, so I think you
Dang, you did your work.
I think you
I'm
overcame that.
impressed.
Hey, that's my job. But no, I think you overcame that and proved to people that you belonged in the league. Um, you during your time in Chicago Red Stars in 2015, you become the second 11 for NWSL as a forward, and then again in 2017, but as a midfielder. Talk about just kind of that and then having to play kind of multiple different positions as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, every year in the NWSL, I've changed positions. Like my first year, I was a nine, and then halfway through my first year, I was a winger, and then I was a 10, and then I was, the eight. Like I just kind of was all over, and like I said, it was a good thing because I always found myself being on the field, but also I never felt like I was perfecting one position and like feeling super confident. But that's just me making excuses. But I was mainly a forward, and then actually in 2017, I think Vanessa, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so for everyone who doesn't know, one of our attacking midfielders on Chicago actually got hurt, and so then I became the number 10 for that whole season. But then I got traded to Houston because I had felt like it was the right career move. I wanted to go try and play outside back because that's where I was playing with the national team. And the coach for Houston had only seen me play as a 10, but that obviously was not my natural position. I'd never really played there. And so when I got traded to Houston, I was promised I was going to play outside back, and then I didn't even end up ever playing outside back. And then on top of that, I didn't even play my natural position, which would be 9 or outside forward. I was playing the 10. And I'm like, I tried to tell the coach, like, I am not a 10. I'm only playing the 10 because one of my players on Chicago was hurt. So I've just been kind of all over, but I don't know. I mean, I've just kind of always played a lot of positions. And it's been a good and bad thing. But I've obviously had to adjust. You know, everyone gets put in situations that are uncomfortable, and you know, switching positions all the time can be uncomfortable at times. But I obviously just have to get over it because
Yeah.
I know that's gonna be like my career for the rest of my life. Like I guarantee I'll play 3 more positions.
I'm just waiting for the day they put you in goal.
Actually, like you would think that I'd be like decent at goalie because I played basketball, but like no, I'm so bad.
Oh,
So bad.
so probably not that then.
Yeah,
Um,
no, 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 no,
but
no.
yeah, you get traded to Houston. You're playing out of position, but I guess I don't even know if we can say that since you've played in so many different positions. But in the
I
12
would definitely
games,
consider it out of position
but
at
I
that
mean,
point.
in the 12 games of that rest of that season, you score 5 goals, make another second 11 team. So obviously, quite a lot of success playing out of position. So that's partly to blame for you to that you keep getting moved around is that you succeed in those positions. You know, if you didn't
Yeah.
do so bad, maybe you can move back to your natural position.
Well, thank you, but it's actually funny because I like playing the 10 the most now. So
Really,
like, yes, because
less
I
running.
feel like no, it's actually not less running. I think it's less sprints, but I feel like personally, like I'm quick, but I'm not as fast as some of the forwards in the league. And to be an outside forward, like I'm going up against like Kristen Press, Malpew, you know, Tobin, Pino, like all these girls who are like next level fast. And I
Hmm.
feel like 10 is more suitable for me because like I have pretty good endurance. Also, like I think that I can see the field really well. So I feel like 10 is a better position for me, but at the same time, I've only been playing it for a season and a half compared to my 3.5 seasons as a forward. So like I feel like everyone in the league just sees me as a forward.
And
But
where now are they saying they're thinking of using you this season?
I don't know. I don't know. I've talked to them about it, and I think because, you know, obviously with what's going on, like they're not really focused on where they're playing me because we don't
Yeah.
even know if we're gonna have a season. Um, but I think they're thinking about playing me at forward.
Okay. That's
Did you
exciting.
see?
Get back there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Again, if we have a season, you never know.
If you have a season. But during the off seasons of the US, the NWSL, you've spent 2 years down in Australia. What was
Three.
the three? Three now?
Whew. Yeah,
Oh,
three.
oh, three. Jeez.
I
That,
know. I
that just
know.
means you're getting old.
I know. I was just gonna say, I feel it. I feel it.
What's been the experience playing there? What's it like down in Oz?
Down under. Um, I personally have had like such a good experience playing there. Like originally when I went there, my second year in the league, our season was only like 5 months long. So I couldn't even really fathom having a five or like a really long, like that long of an off season. So I was like, oh, I need to go play. Like I'll keep making money and I'll keep getting better and improving and whatever. So I love going there. I mean, the level's not as high as the NWSL, but I think it's a perfect league to go play in to boost your confidence. And that's like exactly what it did for me. Actually, my first year, I went to Adelaide. I don't know if you know that.
2016,
That's like,
17.
yeah, 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 yeah. I went to Adelaide and I just went there, like, again, was just not playing scared, and then came back in the NWSL. And that was the first year that I got called up to the national team. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I think like obviously the more touches you get on the ball, um, you're just more comfortable. And I felt again more confident coming into the NWSL. And I think that for me is the point of going to Australia because I need to be ready for the NWSL season. But yeah, it was a really good experience. We won last year, and then this past or 2 years, 2 seasons ago, and then this past season we made it to the final, which was so weird because it was like at the beginning of Corona, so no fans. It was just like
Oh
the two
wow.
teams, yeah, yeah, in a huge stadium too.
Was it
And
hard
we
to play in an empty stadium like that?
Well, no, because I don't feel like we get that many fans anyways,
Okay.
but and like I feel like you're so dialed in the game regardless. But yeah, it's really fun. And again, Australians are super nice and the weather is beautiful and obviously like a lot of beaches and just a really fun place to be. So I loved going there.
Yeah, not a bad place to have an off day from training.
Exactly.
But yeah,
And I was missing out in the Chicago winters.
yeah, bonus.
Like I really had it figured out.
You
Like I
you
was
have
out
you
of
have a
there.
good system. But playing, you guys win the league championship 2 years ago. You scored in the semis and the finals, so that's some clutch scoring coming up big.
You're making me feel good.
Hey, you have a good career. You gotta accept it, right? Is that
Yeah.
how does that rank to winning the YMCA breaststroke tournament?
Oh my gosh. I actually loved swim team, so but obviously uh playing in the scoring in the semis and scoring in the finals and winning was like so cool. It was like the first 5 minutes of the final. I don't like that goal was I was playing outside back, right? So that like I went to Houston, tried to play outside back, never happened. So then my goal, because at that point I was getting called to the national team, went to Houston, didn't get called in again, even after playing midfield and scoring a good amount of goals and feeling like I played really well. And then I was like, okay, so what do I have to do next in my career? Okay, well, let's go to Australia. Let's ask everyone, because I played in Adelaide as a forward. So I called pretty much every coach in Australia. I was like, will you take me? And they're like, yes. I'm like, but only play me at outside back. And they're like, no, we're not playing you there. And Sydney was the only team that was like, okay, we'll play you there. So I was playing outside back. So to score in the ground, like in the final as an outside back for me, it just was like the coolest feeling. And yeah, it just was awesome. It was a home game and obviously a lot of fans there. And it was like such a cool experience. And like I'll watch that goal time to time. Like if, you know,
Hey,
if it,
again, that's
I'll see it on social media. I'm like, whoa, that was cool.
wow. Who's that? That's pretty nice.
Is that me? Yeah,
Um,
really cool.
what's it like moving from? I mean, a midfielder to a outside back maybe isn't as different, but to go from being a forward to then having the defensive responsibilities of an outside back. What's that like as a player, especially doing that? Not that you're old, but later in your career, as a sense, not doing it in high school or something.
I'm with you. Yeah, no, it actually is so different, and I'll tell you why. This is at least my personal experience. Like, of course, I've played a lot of soccer. I've watched a lot of soccer, and I understand how to play outside back. But like as an attacker, you're told your whole life to take risks. Like it's okay if you're in the attacking third and you try to do a move and you fail. Like it's fine. But as an outside back, like you have to be so conservative. And I mean, obviously the goalie's behind you, but you're the last line. So making a
Mm.
mistake is so more, dangerous than if you're an attacking player. And there were just like some habits that were really hard for me to get down. But again, I think going to Australia and playing outside back, I got better, and that was the issue. No one in the NWSL, obviously, you saw me getting traded from Chicago to Houston, like, and I didn't even play outside back then. Like, no one wanted to play me there, and even with me getting traded to Tacoma, like I've thought in my head, I still look at the U.S. national team roster and think, where could I fit in? And outside back is still like, in my opinion, where I could fit in. And I've talked to Tacoma playing me there, and they're like, no.
You got to
So,
stop scoring these goals.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just like, oh, I don't know what to do. But it was an adjustment, and I think the biggest issue was just not getting practice there ever. It's like I would play in my NWSL team, play forward, and then go into camp and play outside back. Like I'd never felt like I was adjusting until I played in Sydney and played 14 games there. And that is when I was like, oh, I can do this.
which
But now
is,
I haven't played there for a while.
yeah, and it's hard too. I feel like you get called into camp and you're asked to play outside back, and now you're defending the best of the best. So it's
Oh,
not like
yes. Yes, my first cap was the first time in my whole entire life that I ever played outside back.
oh my
Ever.
goodness.
I
Oh
just went
my
into the
goodness.
game and I was like, well, this is weird.
Trial
But, you
by
know,
fire.
it is what it is. Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking while you were talking that, one of the biggest differences of forward to outside back is forward, you're the one scoring the goal for your highlight tape. Outside back, you're the one making a mistake for someone else's nice goal on their highlight tape.
Exactly. It's definitely not as rewarding. And you do so much work. Like it's a lot of running.
Yeah,
Wait,
unsung
what
heroes,
position do you
center
play?
back, center back. So
Yeah.
unsung heroes. A little bit more though. Center backs get a little bit more recognition than outside backs. I feel like. I feel like outside backs get the least on most teams.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Thanks, Justin. Did you see his comment? That was nice.
I firmly believe you are one of the best players in the league and deserve a spot on the national team.
I agree with that. So yeah,
Thank you.
I'm sure I don't know if you're sick of talking about it, your whole story. I just think it's, obviously it's very unique, how you ended up playing for the U.S. national team, because you originally were playing for another team. Kind of talk through that whole story and that situation.
Are you referring to Mexico?
Yeah.
For like another team?
Unless there's a third national team you play for.
No. Yeah, so I was in college. It was my freshman summer going into my sophomore year. And I had just been cut from the U20 US team because there was a U20 World Cup coming up in the summer. And Mexico had contacted me, and I didn't really have that much interest to play for them, but I was like, oh, it's an opportunity, I'll go. And I ended up going to camp, and I enjoyed it. So I was like, oh, I'll go to the U20 World Cup because if you play on the youth teams, you're not cap tied. Obviously, my goal was always to play on the US team, but I was like, oh, I'll go to Japan for the U20 World Cup. Why not?
Why not?
So I did that, and then yeah, casual. It was actually so cool. Japan was awesome. And then I started getting called up to the full team. I played 4 games with them. Okay. So at that point I made the decision oh, I'm going to play for Mexico. The US never hasn't sparked any interest in me,
And
which
you
is so funny.
You played against the US, right? In one
Yes.
of those caps? Yeah.
Oh, and the game, it was 8-0. I was like, oh, this is terrible. Okay, so maybe I played 4 games. Yeah, 3 games in a FIFA or a non-FIFA tournament. It was in Brazil and then against the US. Do you hear my dog?
Yeah.
Bruiser. But yeah, so did that, and I just remember not feeling super fulfilled or feeling like I was really trying to be oh my gosh. Hold on one second.
Hey, Bruiser. Hi.
Yeah, my parents are just not my mom. Oh my gosh. I told him not to come. Okay, sorry. So yeah, so then I played for I'm so sorry. A lot is going on. Just leave it there. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Love you. Okay. I'm so sorry. Someone was just dropping something off. But anyway, so yeah, I played for them, and I remember playing for them and having a really fun time, but also being this isn't my dream. This isn't what I haven't been doing this for the last, 10 years of my life for this. I want to try to play for the national team. So stopped playing for them. I actually was injured too for a while. So even when they were calling me into camps, I had to say no because I couldn't play.
Right.
And then during that time, I realized okay, Sophia, you don't want to play for Mexico. Let's see if you're actually cap tied. Because that's a little bit of a gray area.
It's very
I
gray
didn't really
area.
understand the rules. I was I play for Mexico, the full team, am I cap tied, whatever. And so then junior, senior year rolls around, and that's when I realized if I keep getting better, I can play on the national team. I know this about myself. And then went into the NWSL, found some success, and I called my college coach, Jerry, and I was like, Jared, can we find out if I'm cap tied? Because like people are asking me and I'm looking on Google. I'm like, I don't understand if I am or not. And he made some calls and we realized I wasn't. And then after the year I'm talking about when I went to Australia and then came back for my third year, had a really good NWSL season, I started getting called in. Um, there was like, it was a little complex because I hadn't changed my affiliation yet. So because I didn't play in a FIFA regulated game with Mexico, that meant I wasn't
Okay.
cap tied. So like I got called into camp and I was training with the US team for like 3 months before I could even play in a game because FIFA has to go through, accept my change, and then that would allow me to play with the national team. So yeah, I was going into camps for a little bit, only playing in games or only playing in practices, and then finally my papers got approved when I was in Denver, and that's when I got my first cap versus New Zealand.
Yeah, it came in, what, 2 days before the game?
Yeah, it was actually so cool. I was just walking around Denver, like exploring the city, and I saw Jill Ellis, who was the coach at the time. And she was like, she called me, and I was like, why is she calling me? Like, what am I doing wrong? And she's like, your papers got approved. Like, and then I dressed and I played. It was super cool. It was like such a good experience. But yeah, I've had some like haters on the Mexico side. They're like, you're a traitor. I'm like, I'm from Boise, Idaho. Like, I don't know if I'm a traitor, but you know, definitely have a lot of respect for the Mexican team. But playing for the US was always my goal.
And you, was it first cap, you get an assist to Alex Morgan, I believe?
Yeah, did you see her finish though? Like, I don't know if that was meant like me getting it was a cool assist, but like that was a cool finish too.
I,
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
I was like, whew, thank you.
Thank you for getting me that.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Honestly, good job because an assist.
But so not only as the first professional soccer player from Idaho, you are the first female player to play both for and against US and Mexico. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's another bucket list check mark that no one else in the world has that you have
Yeah,
distinguished.
that was cool. And we were playing in Houston. So it was just, yeah, that was pretty cool. I think I went in the last 20 minutes and yeah, I was the first person to ever do that. Pretty cool.
Now, obviously, U.S. national team, that's your dream growing up. I mean, I even remember at Bridges when we were training together, you talking about how excited, because it was right before January camp that you were
Yeah,
headed
yeah,
into.
yeah.
And obviously how much that meant to you and all. But was it a difficult decision to say no to Mexico? Obviously, yes, you looking back now, it might be an easier one to be like, yeah, of course, because I get called into the U.S. team, I get to represent the Stars and Stripes. But you know, you have something in your hand, and then you're giving that away for not necessarily a guarantee that
Yeah,
something else will come.
for sure. Yeah, this is so funny because when people ask me like, was the decision hard? The only reason it was hard is because kind of what we talked about earlier, that self-doubt was creeping in. You know, I had people who were like super close to me, including honestly my family. They were like, just play for Mexico. Like you can go to a World Cup, you can go to Olympics. It's guaranteed where the US isn't. And then I started thinking like, why is everyone like really close to me telling me to play for Mexico? Like I was like kind of offended, but I also like know that no one knows besides yourself how good you can be, honestly, because like I knew that I had the work ethic, and my like I hadn't even touched like my roof yet, like the ceiling. So I just thought like, you know, they might not think I'm good enough, but I know if I keep working towards it, like I'm gonna be good enough. And I just knew that if I looked back and didn't make that decision, I would have regrets about it. And my dad always says like his biggest regrets are always like not taking enough risks. So it's like this was a big risk, but I'm so happy I decided to do it because I just didn't feel like I really was going for my dream when I was playing for Mexico. It was super fun, great experience, made some great friends, and got to travel the world. Like I went to some pretty cool places, but it wasn't a hard decision for me. I was like, I want to play for the U.S. Like literally, I had Mia Hamm all over my room when I was growing
Me
up.
too.
Posters,
Hey, me
yeah.
too.
Good. Oh my God. I'm not surprised. She was so good. But yeah, so it wasn't a hard decision, and I don't regret it at all. Like people will still bring it up. They're like, "You could have gone to the World Cup." I'm like, okay. It's not my goal. My goal is to play on the U.S. team and go to
Yeah.
World Cup with them. But
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
yeah,
What's the experience the first cap with the U.S. national team when you go
Danny. She's like, answer my FaceTime, Danny. I'm clearly like can't answer FaceTime right now.
your first cap, you enter the field and the U.S. team is just so star-studded with players. Is it difficult to focus that first game? You're in that you finally reach your goal of getting a cap for the U.S. women's team. You're playing with all these amazing players. You're representing your country. Is it hard to focus on the game, or are you able to put that to the side?
Well, like at that point, I had been training with them for 3 months, so I was kind of over being like starstruck. Slash, I play with those girls in the NWSL all the time. Um, Tanny, I sent a request to be added. Should we put her on here? But I would say I was more like distracted by the fact that I was playing like really out of position. But not by who I was playing with. Like they all made me feel really comfortable. And, I think the time that I came in wasn't a super stressful. I mean, it's always stressful to be in that environment. Like just full
Right.
disclosure, it's like really, it really is. And it's a really competitive environment, but it wasn't like right before an Olympics or right before a World Cup. So everyone was really welcoming and like wanted to see me succeed. And I think had sympathy for me, like going into my first game at outside back. So I wasn't nervous because of the girls at all.
All right, that's fair. Good answer. What about the first training session? Was that difficult?
Oh my God. Yeah. Yes. I was so, even like first, because, like you get called in and then you fly to wherever they are and you like go into the hotel, everyone's there. Even like my first, yeah, I was so nervous, like heart beating, just like felt like I forgot to have a conversation. Like I was like, hey, like I see you all the time, but like I'm so nervous. But you get over that.
Yeah, the first game though that you played in was it? I think 6 of the 11 players on the field were Red Stars players at the time.
Yeah, that
So
also
that
helped too.
that probably
Yeah.
helped.
That was the best thing about playing on Chicago is that there were so many national team players that like when I went to camp, I was like, oh, am I at a Red Stars training or what's going on?
No, that does help. Makes it easier going in. I have some questions for you that I'm just interested about. You're
You're
20,
so
you're
funny.
27 now. If you could go back to like 15-year-old self playing in Idaho, starring on the basketball court, jumping hurdles, playing soccer,
You know.
what would be the biggest piece of advice you'd give yourself?
Um, I like, I mean, I have so many answers for this, but I would say like one of the main ones would be um like figuring out my mind. Like it was really hard for me to I guess put all my focus into this, and I felt like I didn't start doing that until a little later, like kind of what we talked about my junior year of college. That's when I started going out more and doing extra training and kind of going above and beyond and fueling my body with the right food and taking out certain things, and just focusing on that. So I would say just like if at a young age this is what you want to do, trying to figure out how you can succeed in that and take it more seriously. Because I feel like again I started doing that when I a little later, and like you keep saying, I'm 27, so I felt like if I would have maybe started, um, I guess figuring out really what I wanted to do with this, maybe I'd be further along. Maybe I'd be on the national team.
I,
I don't know.
there's still time.
I know, not much.
Not much, but you got a little bit more time.
Yeah, we're good.
Um, Here's a question from someone. Favorite soccer moment from college?
Um, well, we won the WCC, but I would say, and that was cool. But overall, yeah, probably my junior year was like my favorite. I guess, moment collectively because we had a really good team that year. Like Julie was on the team. Morgan Marbrough, she was in the league too. Danny Weatherholt, she's also in the league. And we were meant to go really far. That being said, we got knocked out in the Sweet 16, unfortunately, but we just had a really, really good team. And I felt like that was the first year that I was really, really pushed on and off the field by my teammates. And so that was probably like my favorite college moment. It's too hard to pick. That's too hard of an answer.
It's a lot of games and years. Danny wants to know your favorite teammate you ever played with. I feel like that's a little biased.
Like she knows the answer to this, and that's why she's asking. Obviously, Danny is my favorite player to play with. She's my best friend.
Come on, you have to say someone else.
Okay, if I have to say someone else, I mean, probably Julie Ertz, just because I've been playing with her since I was 14, and she's just so good. So I just like practice with her and like look over and I'm like in awe. I'm like, she's the best. She's just like so good. But for sure, Danny.
It's something. Maybe it's something with Santa Clara girls that keep getting moved around in positions. They never have just one set.
I know.
Position.
I know.
How do you? So speaking of moving around and playing different positions, how do you find ways to keep improving when you don't necessarily know what position you're going to be on the field?
Well, I think at this point, like I'm aware that no one really sees me as a defender. So like I'm going to be an attacking player. So, you know, simple stuff like finishing. The sessions that I'm doing now here with my old club coach is a lot of technical, like, you know, little touches, dribbling with the ball, getting shots. Like I said, scoring goals, that's like my job. So I'm doing that, but it's difficult. It's difficult to try to navigate, but
yeah, because you can't like fine tune one little thing of, oh, I'm a winger, so I need to practice receiving to my back foot on the line, because then you might be in the middle of the field never having to do that.
Exactly. You kind of have to do it all. But like shout out to my trainer because he's really doing like wonders for me. He sets up like awesome drills and I get to kind of do everything just because I don't know where I'm going to play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's working. That's all I can say about it. It seems to be working.
You're sweet.
You're big into, I think, you know, fashion, sneakers specifically. You got strong shoe game.
I have a lot of shoes.
I know you love your shoes. What's your go-to favorite shoe right now?
Well, it's a little weird because quarantine, so I'm not really seeing a lot of people. But I just like my Yeezys. I feel like the Yeezys are the best because they're like super comfortable. I have them down here, but I just kind of wear them all the time.
Now,
for sure, my go-to.
With some of the shoes that you wear, obviously in some places they might be more accepted. How do people in Idaho view your shoes?
Well, actually, like, I mean, I feel like I went through a phase. I'm not that big on designer sneakers anymore. Like, I just went through a phase where I was like buying designer sneakers, like so stupid. But I remember like buying my first pair of Balenciagas, like thinking I was so cool. And I wore them downtown Boise and people were just like, what do you have on your feet? Like, I swear they were just staring at me like, what are those? But
she bought those at the Salvation Army.
Yeah. But yeah, culture here is non-existent. But yeah, it's funny. But I try not to, you know, indulge too much on sneakers anymore.
It's tough though. It's tough not to sometimes.
It gets addicting. It gets addicting for sure. I'm trying to be better.
How many shoes, if you had to guess, do you own? Oh gosh.
A lot. I would say like at least. I'm trying to be realistic because I don't want to like overget. I don't know, at least 75.
That's a pretty big.
Maybe 100.
It might be.
I'm telling you. You know, could be more.
Oh gosh.
But yeah.
So you played in Australia. You played all over the U.S. Have you ever considered playing in Europe?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely was like kind of always a goal of mine. But at this point, I think everyone kind of talks about how if you want to be on the national team, you need to stay in the NWSL because that's how you're going to get the most exposure. And then on top of that, the like European leagues are actually really hard to play in because they have a lot of rules where like, oh, you can only be on this team, like the best teams, if you're someone on the national team who plays in 75% of the games. So, that's like a kind of something hard to accomplish. So I feel like if I did, me personally, the teams that I would be able to go to aren't as good as the NWSL teams I play on. And also, like, Australia, they speak English, and it's not like the US, but it's not super, I don't know, it's like, it's not like the most abroad.
It's like an in-between.
Yeah.
In between US and Europe.
But at this point, like, I've kind of done that now, So
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy with being here and staying in the NWSL. Like, the league has really grown, and I feel like just keeps getting more competitive and better anyway. So I don't feel like I have to go to Europe to improve.
Yeah, I'm happy to see how much the league continues
I
to
know.
grow, the fan base, everything. I think
For
if
sure.
something like Corona right now, if this had happened, 10 years ago, that would probably have guaranteed the league had to fold from it and everything. So the fact that
Oh,
it's
yeah.
that stable now is a very encouraging sign for women's soccer in the U.S. But what kind of advice do you give to younger girl players that are interested in playing professional soccer?
I would just say, like, for me, again, this is all personal experience. Like, I found that having a mentor always really helped me. Like, just having someone who's really going to help you on and off the field, like, to remind you, like, someone usually older, but like can tell you, like, when you're feeling like that self-doubt creep in, like, no, you are good enough. Okay, this is what you have to do. Like, they watch your games and they help you improve. Because I found my most success when I did have someone who was helping me get through those tough times. Um, but obviously, like, you have to have fun too. I know that's so cliche, but like, I've also found that I play my best when I'm not putting a lot of pressure on myself, and I play my worst when I'm like, I have to score this game, I have to get an assist, I have to do this, and then I end up not even getting the shot on goal. So be like, your limits and your capabilities, but also take the pressure off of you, because you know there's no, I don't know. I used to stress a lot. Like, I was kind of a head case. And then I have like a life coach, and I work on like mindfulness and meditation. And I feel like that's really, really helped me on and off the field, and helped me just become a better person.
Yeah, having fun on the field usually
Oh,
increases the chance of success.
oh my gosh. Like, it so does. It so does. You know it.
There's enough other pressures in the world.
Exactly.
Do you have a favorite goal that sticks out in your long career of many goals?
I do. You posted one of them.
Okay.
That was a good goal, I thought.
That was goal
So
of the year. That's a great goal.
I liked that goal. And then obviously the one in the grand final was Sydney. And then I have another one. I have another one because it was in Portland. And I feel like scoring at Portland is like so fun because they obviously have a huge crowd, and they're so
Mm-hmm.
loud the whole game. And so I remember in that specific game, how we were talking about being a sub and coming on, how difficult it is. I came on as a sub, um, and scored, and it was like from really far out, upper 90, and obviously the crowd just went quiet. I was like, oh my gosh, that
What
was
was
good. I
what
liked
was
that goal too.
what's your celebration when you score? Do you ever plan anything out,
Oh,
or
it's so embarrassing.
you just kind
Oh,
of?
it's not good. I just like raise my hands, and I'm like so excited. I went through a phase where I did a little like jump and like that, and I was like, I can't even stop doing that. But I feel like my celebration's like genuine. Like, I'm obviously just like so happy I scored. Sometimes I don't celebrate at all though. It's so weird. I don't think about it.
Like, even
Should
if
I
your
start
team's
doing a
winning?
backflip like Sam Kerr?
Yeah, why not? If you can do it, can you do it?
I can.
Then you have to. I don't know
Oh,
though.
no.
That one always to me.
That's hers.
Yeah, and I don't know. That one always, like, if your legs are tired in a game, you score in like the
Yeah.
85th minute, and you try this, you land on your face, like.
And you just like, exactly, yeah, no, that knowing like my luck, that would happen to me. So like, I would never dare.
high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
As an outside back in training with the women's national team, who was the hardest person for you to defend?
I was like mainly going up against Megan Rapinoe, and she
Easy.
was really hard for, yeah, yeah, so easy, like nothing. No, but she was really hard to defend because she's so deceptive, and I was talking to you about like the really fast forwards, and I'm not saying they're easy to defend, but I do think that I have a better idea of what they're going to do. They're more predictable, like they're fast. Okay, they're going to take a long touch, and maybe if I can get my body there before them, if I know what they're doing, it's easy. But she would just like, I thought she was going one way and then she was going the other way, like she was really difficult to defend. And then also Lynn Williams she's one of the fast people I'm talking about, but she was just so fast, like no matter what, I couldn't catch her. So I would say those two were pretty hard to defend.
I would imagine, just from what I see, is Tobin would also be quite challenging because
Tobin was hurt when I was
does,
getting called into camp, so or else I probably would have said hurt.
I mean, it seems like she's like a
amazing.
magician with some of those tricks.
Oh my gosh, yeah, she's so good, for sure.
I'm over here doing my slow center back step overs.
Yeah. Center backs are lazy. Just kidding.
It's kind of true. We just yell a lot. How long, if you could choose right now, how long would you play for?
Probably 6 more years. 6, 7 more years. Like for me, like, how we were just talking about how the league's gotten so much better. Like if I was still making the same amount that I was making my rookie year, like probably would have to do something else.
Yeah.
But as the league has grown and it's become more of a career, like I feel like I would play as long as I can. So yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I'm not even gonna say that, but yeah, as long as I can, probably like 6 years. I say unless I want to have kids, but
yeah, I figured that.
I'm not thinking that yet, so
that's why
probably like 33, 34.
Any player that wanted kids, if they could have known in September, would have been great.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Year.
I'm like, Alex Morgan really did it right. She really did it right.
She did it right.
She's perfect.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't deny that.
It's pretty hot.
Oh,
it's funny.
So 6 more years. Would you ever, you've lived all over, would you go back to Idaho when you retire, you think? What do you think you're going to do when you're done playing?
Well, could I go back to Idaho? Is that your question?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so beautiful here. I do love it, but I also really loved being in a city too. But I also love not being in a city. I don't know. I think it kind of depends on if I'm single or not. I don't know.
Not as many
prospects
it's cool.
In
Boise.
No.
But
no, I do really love it here. Yeah, they don't know. If they don't know, then they don't know.
It's a deal breaker. Well, I appreciate you taking time to share your story. I just think it's so unique. Multiple things, playing different positions, getting called into the national team and playing a position you've never played before, switching different national teams, being the first pro player from Idaho, your swimming success. I just appreciate you coming on here and sharing it all.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. It's good to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay safe, and hopefully your guys' season starts back.
Yeah, for sure. Keep enjoying the start of your season because that's so lucky.
Absolutely. All right. Take care.
Cool. Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye.